Okay, so I rewatched the last video and I noticed that my file menus were cut off, but you could still see when I clicked on them the drop down, so I think that should be fine. I've adjusted the window now where you can now see the words up here. I apologize for that. Okay, so next I want to go through the tools. Alright, so unlike in Illustrator, we have a move tool up here, this crossbar, black arrow, and it will only move a layer. So like if I try to move the background, if I click and drag, it says no. So anything that's locked, it's going to tell you no. Now, the other thing I want to show you is up here in this bar. This bar, your control bar, which in this software is called your options bar. See how it disappeared? You want to show options. In Illustrator, it was called controls. You're very used to now being able to click on something and it highlights. That works in Photoshop as well, but you have to tell it to do so. So this is the move tool, and you want to be able to see the transform controls and be able to auto select a layer. So if you have more than one layer, but there's a little piece here and a little piece there and some pieces down here, you can jump from layer to layer quickly instead of having to go all the way over to your layer palette and go, I want to be on layer 4, I want to be on layer 2. You'll be able to just click, but only if these two check boxes up here are selected. So let's give it a layer. I'm going to do File, Open. Let me open a JPEG. Oh, I'll do this Tom and Jerry. Open. And right now it's a set image. It's on its own background, so I'm going to select it all, copy it, jump over to my tab, paste it, and you'll notice it came in way smaller. That is because this Tom and Jerry JPEG that I found online on Google, if I go to image size, it's a big image. It's 17.7 inches wide by 10 inches tall, but it's only 72 dots per inch. Well, when you take that 72 dots per inch, or pixels per inch image, and you paste it into a 300 dots per inch image, it comes in smaller. And you'll notice it's also no longer 17 by 10. So now you'll notice when I click off of it, okay, if I click on it, you can see in my layers palette over here on the right, see how if I click on that, it goes away, but if I click on the layer, layer 1 highlights. And you can also see the transform controls, okay? And you can see how fuzzy that gets when I blow it up. Now, when you transform something using the move tool or the transform cross, and the pixels, when it moves it and transforms it, it turns it way lower resolution. And then if I click off of it, or if I try and do something else, when I pick that, you'll notice it tightened it up, it cleaned it up. So what it does is it messes with the resolution so it will move faster. Okay, so it makes it all grainy looking and icky so it can transform more quickly. And then when I click on a different tool, it tightens up a little bit. Now, it didn't do so much that time. So I'm going to go backwards, edit, undo, edit, undo. Hey, they've added some more undos. Look at us. I'll be darned. So they've added undos, multiple undos in Photoshop. That's wonderful. Learn something new every day. Okay, so And then if I go to File, Open, I've got another Tom and Jerry down there somewhere. That's a good one. Open, select all. This time I'm going to hit Command A for select all. Copy. Jump over here, paste. Okay? So now I have a background of white, 1, 2 layers. Now every time you hit paste in Photoshop, it will create a new layer for you. You don't have to make a layer in anticipation. It will just make a new layer for you. Okay, now if I wanted to merge these two into one layer, I would have to do that either in the layer file menu or in the layer palette. Now remember, all palettes have this little drop down menu here. And that drop down menu in the layer palette, all of this is exactly the same as all of this in layer. Okay? Same stuff. Redundancy. Okay. Now the next thing you have is a selection marquee. And they call it a marquee because in the old days of a theater, the marquee was where the titles of the film were, and the lights around it kind of marched around it. We call it now the marching ants. Okay, you can see them moving in the selected area. Okay. Now what this allows me to do is if I want to, I could edit, copy. Copy merged. I did not merge anything. I don't have it selected. So I'm going to go select layer 2 and now go to edit, copy, edit, cut, and it punches a hole through it, and then edit, paste, and it pastes in the middle. And then I'll go to this tool and see now I have this whole other piece. And I've got a new layer. Okay? So now by clicking I can jump from layer to layer. You can cut out pieces from a layer, and if I click and hold down on this tool, I can do circular cuts. Okay? Copy, cut, paste. Okay? Now the other thing the marquee tool will allow you to do is select an area that you want to do something to, but not anywhere else. So let's say I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to darken this area here. Now obviously it's a rectangle, I'd want to be, but let's say I want to darken this. Well, I could select this area and go get my, which I'll explain this in a minute, but a burn tool. And it's telling me I can't do anything with it because if I look, again, I don't have a layer selected. Alright, now I've got it. So, if I wanted to, this is what's great about the marquee tools, I can darken only what's within that selection. It didn't mess with anything else. And I can keep darkening that selection and hit it again. And it doesn't go outside my selected area. So now if I go to deselect, or if I hit Command D, I've darkened just that one patch, that one area, and I didn't have to worry about going outside the lines and messing anything else up. So if you select something a little more organically, I'll show you here in a minute how you can do just a specific area. Let's say we just wanted to do one of Tom's teeth. Well, that would come in handy with the next selection tool. And you'll notice you have 1, 2, 3 selection tools. And within each tool, there are multiple other tools. So selecting is an extremely important thing in Photoshop. You can't just click on something and do anything. If you want a certain area manipulated, you have to select it. So the lasso has three choices. You have a freehand lasso tool, which is literally just how steady your hand is. Okay. You click, hold, and drag, and lasso around it. Okay, but you can see it wasn't too good. Okay. Deselect. That was a Command D. You have the polygon lasso tool, and how it behaves is much like Spider-Man's web, except it's very angular. So I can go click once, and then you see how I'm attached to it, and then I can click again, but it's not like Illustrator where you can draw and pinch. It's once you've clicked, so it's very geometric. You know, and that's not a real good selection. A lot of people try and use it to do rounded areas. Like if I tried to click, 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 you know, just click a million times to try and make a nice curve with it. You know, it works, but you're still going to get some chunkiness. There's a better way to do curves and organics. And then there's this thing called the magnetic lasso tool, and this one comes in handy is if you have a large field of color